Well, what started in Attack of the Titan, the live-action adaptation, was a pretty serviceable, decent take on the animated series and manga. But the second part, Attack on Titan: End of the World, to put it bluntly, is shit. I expressed in my review for part one that I was not blown away by the animated series, by the anime. I thought it was okay. It had some decent set pieces, but overall, I was like, "What's the big deal?" It was alright. And then I discovered that they're going to do a live-action version of the anime, and the live-action version only covers the first season, which in retrospect actually turned out to be the better season of the two seasons. And part one was already establishing how they are clearly deviating from the storyline. I mean, it's completely understandable that when you're doing an adaptation of an anime series, that you can't obviously do everything beat for beat and recreate every moment. You got to create some kind of, I guess, amalgamation of the best things of the series and piece them together into a nice cohesive film. So that, granted, you're going to be missing stuff that fans, including, even though I'm not a big fan, there were things I was looking forward to see in the live-action version, and it didn't deliver. Part one didn't deliver. They gave some cool stuff, and I thought some of the things were pretty well presented, but it just didn't feel as good as the anime, because I guess the problem is when you're adapting a dense 13 episode, I think it was 13 episodes, or maybe even 24, a dense storyline like that, there are things you really need, and then there are things you might be able to get away with not having. But of course, this is the live-action adaptation, so it's not going to be the same as the anime series, and I imagine it's not the same as the manga. So here we are with Attack on Titan: End of the World. This is the second half of the live-action adaptation, which is an adaptation of the first season of Attack on Titan. Jeez, this was bad. I was, right at the start, this was boring. There was just too much exposition going on, too much very uninteresting bickering, character motivations, cliche characters, nothing was working. I think the first 10 or 15 minutes was just an adaptation of a scene that I thought was pretty damn effective in the animated series. And the version that was presented here was dull, uninspired. And then, fans will probably hate this, they deviate completely and they incorporate elements that you don't see until the second season of Attack on Titan. I won't say what, but when you see the trailer, I imagine you already know exactly what they're dealing with. And I was scratching my head. It's like, wait, this wasn't in the first season. What's going on here? And that just takes it even a step further, where it goes into an element that you're scratching your head. It's like, what is this, trying to be 2001? There are things that happen that are just what? And it takes it a step further. One of the things that I had issue with in the anime was that it never really gave you a clear explanation as to what these Titans are, where they came from, which is fine. I imagine in future seasons they're going to answer those questions of where these came from. And again, I haven't read the manga, but they demystify the Titans and they give an explanation, and it is rather meh. It's like, okay, whatever. And then everything just goes off the rails from there, because now they're doing things, the Titans are doing things that they weren't able to do in the animated series. And they basically evolves into just a very cliched, hackneyed, uninspired, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers meets War of the Gargantuans. It's hard to explain. If you've seen the animated series, you're going to be like, what the fuck are they doing? Pardon my French. But what are they doing here? And if you've never even seen the animated series, and this is your first look at Attack on Titan, you're gonna be saying, "It's like, who the hell wrote this? This is terrible." I mean, there's like all these plot elements and just constant endings and like things that like, how the hell that someone who's clearly, aren't they dead? Suddenly they're back, and then characters that are like thinking that you thought were dead are like back, and then they're completely something else. And the issue of, like I said, they took elements from the second season and they brought it into this one, and then they just butchered it and butchered it and butchered it. It was probably, I don't know, there might have been maybe 20 minutes left in the movie, and I was like just sitting there, arms folded. I'm like, really? I mean, come on, really? You're going there? You're taking this there? It's like, I'm like, just end the damn thing. How many false endings are we gonna have here? I'm like, it's like, again, it's yikes. And to like make it even worse, it has a drawn out, ridiculously cheesy ending. And to top it all off, the stinger that closes it out, geez, you're just gonna have to see it to believe it. And you're gonna be like thinking, it's like, these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. It's both parts were directed and written by the same people, and they clearly, to paraphrase Ian Malcolm, they should have stopped to, oh, how did that damn quote go? Now I'm all riled up. It's like, they were too concerned with wondering if they could instead of asking if they should. So they were preoccupied with what they could and figured they could, but what they should have done is actually get someone who can actually write a good story for this. I mean, obviously, it's going to be like, I'm sure there are going to be fans out there who are going to eat it up, and I have a feeling it's going to be just like the Phantom Menace, where everybody's going to be a Attack on Titan apologist. It's like, oh no, the movie wasn't that bad, it didn't live up to it, but you got to see the animated series. It's like, again, me, I was not a huge fan of the animated series. I've never read the manga, but this live-action adaptation was just plain crappy. It's incoherent overall, two parts together, incoherent, makes no sense, dull, uninspired, you really don't care about anything's going on, and it's just so cliched, hackneyed, and lame, even in Japanese kaiju standards. It's just like, this sucks. So I would have to give Attack on Titan End of the World a epic 2.5 stars out of 10. Yes, 2.5 out of 10. The visual effects are probably the only thing that saves this, but not much by a long slot, like a mile, like a Titan. But seriously, this, if anything, just watch the first one and forget the second one, or just do yourself a favor, read the manga, or just watch the animated series if you got time. But the live action adaptation of Attack on Titan overall, for regular movie-going fans, it's probably like, I just wasted 3 hours. For die-hard fans of the franchise, you're probably going to be like thinking, it's like, Jesus, they just butchered the hell out of this thing and made one of the worst movies ever. And I guess for anyone who really just wants something entertaining to watch with a lot of like just crazy things going off on screen that you don't really have to pay attention to, I guess this would be serviceable. But as for me, I'd rather do something else. I'd rather play a video game or something. But yeah, Attack on Titan, End of the World. It felt like the end of the world to me, and I wish it was. So there you have it. If you like my review, hit the like button below. I've included the trailer link to End of the World in the description box, and I also added the link for my review of Part 1 of Attack on Titan as well. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do, so you can stay on top of my reviews as they come in. And what can I say? Have you seen End of the World? Were you looking forward to End of the World? I'm sorry if I just totally just shot you down, but have you seen it? What were your thoughts? Share your comments below. Am I totally off base? Am I totally right on with my thoughts about it? But this is probably one of the worst things I've seen this year. So again, please share your comments below. So until next time, I really have nothing to say except watch at your own risk.